Hi, and welcome to our elementary band and strings webinar. We still have some people joining us. We're going to slowly get into this, but thank you for joining us tonight. We're happy to have you. And for those of you watching this recording, I hope that you get a lot of good information about the elementary band program at Concordia. So to start this off, just to give you a little information about how this will work, we have our panelists with us. So we have Mrs. Jennifer Porath with us. She is the director of bands. We have Mr. Brandon Eiler, who is a director of our orchestra, and Mr. Jacob Pennycamp, who is our head of school. They're here to provide you with information and walkthrough of this system. Also, so that you know how Zoom works, you also have the Q&A box where you can ask questions. We'll be able to answer those live for you. And there's also a chat if you want to use that. So we'll be monitoring those, asking questions or answering questions, stopping and getting those as you need. And then we will send out a recording of this following tonight's webinar. So I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Jacob Pennycamp to get us started.
Yeah, hello, good evening. And we're grateful that you're here and learning about the band program. Like we do with many things, I want to open us with a word of prayer and pray a blessing upon us, especially this busy spring evening where we probably all were chasing around this afternoon before we jump on here. So let's bow our heads. Gracious Lord, give you thanks and praise for a beautiful day we have today, but also all the ways that you bless us and our children and our families. Lord, thank you for the gift of music and the fine arts. Those are something we treasure in our schools. And as we introduce students to the opportunities that band and strings might have for them, I pray that we will be faithful in raising up another generation, Lord, that is able to celebrate the gifts you give to us, but also know our place as redeemed children and of your work on the cross. And we pray this all in your name. Amen. So again, I am Jacob Pennycamp. I'm the head of school at Concordia Lutheran High School, and Concordia does treasure the fine arts. And so we're grateful to have talented directors and musicians that help lead and guide all of our programs. But today we're going to talk just a little bit about our band and strings program. And so you'll hear from our director of bands, Ms. Jennifer Porath, and Brandon Eiler, who is our director of strings. And they'll introduce you to a little bit more about the program. But the elementary band and strings program at Concordia is something that we are grateful to be able to partner with the schools in our community. All the schools do make a small commitment to be part of the program themselves financially, and then they allow us to come into your buildings and provide direction and training. But there is cost to the program, and so you'll hear a little bit about that today, but what the benefit of that for you is you are going to have 2 or 3 days a week then of a class lesson and training and the materials that you'll need, your student would need to be in our band and strings program. And then also concerts that will happen at least twice during the year and then during the Fine Arts Festival a third time. And so we think this is valuable for lots of reasons. As you'll hear also from our directors, kids who are involved in something outside of the school is a benefit to their connection to the school, to each other, to something greater than themselves. And we know from science and research that kids who are involved in music, it's great training for math and critical thinking skills and all the rest. So it's a powerful investment that you can make in the life of your child. And I'm the parent of 5 children, and my 4 oldest children all participated in the elementary band program through Concordia, and were richly blessed by that experience as a launching pad into high school and then beyond, something that they still love and cherish. So thank you for your participation and learning about the program. We did go through a major change. And so if you're a returning parent, you might have been aware that our registration process changed last year to this year. The good news is if you went through that process successfully, it's going to be much easier for you to get into it now. And we've worked out some of the kinks. So thanks for bearing with us. We've made no changes to the cost this year. So we kept everything the same as it was last year, both to schools and to participants. And you'll hear more about why it would be really valuable for you to register early, both for you and for us to know how to best schedule. So again, thanks for your commitment to your children and to the possibility of them being in music and band. And I hope that your experience is a blessed one, as blessed as mine was as a parent.
Thank you, Jacob. And we're going to hand it over to Mrs. Jennifer Porath to talk about the program and what it's all about. And Mr. Brandon Nyler will be speaking too. Thanks.
Yeah, so like Mr. Pennicamp was just saying, that there's 2 or 3 days during the school day, so nothing is after school, and it's all self-contained. The only thing that's outside of school are those 2, maybe 3 concerts and then rehearsals leading up to it. So there's not a lot of extra time. Sometimes you might have to work out with your teachers about like what class you're missing and what materials you're missing by being in band or orchestra. But a lot of the teachers, if not all of them, are super great about working together and making sure that they're able to do what they want, because it is, I might be a little bit biased, but it is a fantastic program, and it helps kids succeed across the board. And so that early bird registration that Jake was just talking about, if you register by June 30th, you won't have to pay anything until that first payment comes in August. So it's kind of an incentive for us to get things ready and get things together. But that way you don't have to put any money down or of any kind until we get to that point. So specific to the band program, we have a concert in November, a concert in April. We just had it 2 weeks ago. And then in March-ish, we have our Fine Arts Festival that our intermediate and advanced groups play at. Brandon, you want to talk a little bit about the strings program?
Yeah, so all the schools that I go to, or actually all the string classes in the program, they meet twice a week. And just piggybacking off of what Jennifer said about the scheduling for all of the classes, we give each of the schools we go to a time frame on when we will be there, and the schools are great about working out what will be best for each of those classes. And we typically we arrange our classes as beginning, intermediate, and advanced. So we are at schools for typically 3 half-hour classes, and the schools do a great job of getting it worked out to where students wouldn't be missing all of one class. And if for some reason they have to, the teachers work with us and work with the students. So it always seems to work itself out very well in regards to that.
Absolutely. And by registering by that June 30th date, that really helps us to be able to make those schedules ahead of time, so we're not scrambling the first week or 2 of August. Now, registration will still be open through August, and especially once we start getting the beginners, next year's beginners, into it all. But that's a huge part of it, is to figure out each individual school's schedule, our teaching schedule, because there's 2 or 3 other full-time or part-time teachers that help this program as well. But it also helps us and will allow us to get materials ready and order books and get folders all put together, and making sure that we have enough teachers for kids. Because if we get this sudden huge influx of kids, then we want to be able to be ready for that and prepared for that. That would be a wonderful problem to have. So, but yeah, register by June 30th, and that'll help us out a lot. And I think that'll help you out a lot too, just so it's one less thing you have to worry about in August.
All right, Jennifer, would you like me to walk through the registration process at this point?
Go for it. Yeah, with Camp Brain.
Okay, so I know this part was a little confusing for everybody last year, so we're trying to make this as easy as possible. So these are all the schools that we run the band and strings program at. So you will see the prices for that. What was one of the confusing things that we talked about last year was talking about it in a monthly payment. So it confused some people based on how they set up their payments. So we're talking about it as a full fee for the program. And you'll see most programs are $495 for the entire year. The elementary band program is $540, and that's because it is 3 days a week as opposed to 2 days a week at the other schools. And then you'll see Lutheran South Unity, that payment is actually just worked out through the school. So if you go to LSUS, you'll just be paying for your program through your tuition, working it out through that school. That's just how they've asked us to do it. So I am going to jump over to Camp Brain and walk you through the system. So in order to get this, you're going to clhs.campbrainregistration.com. If you use our summer camp registration, or you've done any kind of Cagers in the past or other programs that we've done through Camp Brain, you will use the same login here, which is really great. It keeps your children in there and their information. But if you are new, just use this new user sign up, put your first name, last name, email, create a password, and just create an account. It'll put you in the system, and then you'll be able to get the information. You'll be able to sign up for our summer camps, which we have a great band summer camp that you can do. We have a lot of other summer camps. They go K through 12, really. So down to kindergarten, you can start participating in our summer camps. And this is the system that you use. But for elementary band, I'm just going to go ahead and log in using my existing login. And you'll see that there's two different things that I can do. Right now, we have the elementary band early bird registration. So again, that's that registration that if you register by June 30th, you do not have to pay anything today. So just go ahead and click that start application. Read through this. This is just information that we need you to know. This is a full year program, just like when you're registering for school, you're taking a class. We want you to take this the entire year. But we know sometimes things happen. So if you do need to drop after the semester, make sure for fall semester that's done by October 1st. For spring semester, it's done by January 15th. But again, we want you staying in there for the full year. That's the best experience that you're going to get for your student. So these are my fake children in here. I do not have a child named Other Q or Penny. Penny is actually my dog. So this is just fake child. You can go in, select their birth date, their gender, and their grade. So the grade is important for what they're going into next year, so that you can actually be able to see the registration for your child. This is especially key for summer camps, because if you select the wrong grade, then you won't have all the camps available to you. So go ahead and hit continue. Then you'll see all the schools listed. What you'll need to do is actually select your school and whether you want to do the band or the strings program. I'll go ahead and, oop, that went back, sorry. I will go ahead and select the program at Ascension. So I click on the details and just add to cart. You also have the option, if you need to buy a music book, read anything having to do with your instrument. If you're a returning student, then this is something you're probably going to know right off the bat. If you're a new student, one of the things you're going to want to talk to the teacher about, they're going to, Ms. Porath, Mr. Eiler, all the teachers that we have in the program, they will make this very clear, and you'll be able to come in here and purchase. So you can also come back and purchase it at another date. So I added that to my cart. I just scroll down to the bottom till I hit continue. Now it's going to ask you to complete some forms. It's just going to ask some basic information, what household that you're in. It's going to ask you about your instrument. There'll just be some required forms here depending on your student, and you just need to make sure and fill out all those. And you'll see that, because I've been in here a couple times, some of these forms are already completed. Just make sure that you're walking through. The asterisk means that these are all required forms.
Can I jump in here and say that if, say, you have a kid that's in band and strings, or two kids that are in band, you can add multiple things to your cart too. You don't have to do this 3 separate times or whatever.
Well, you can actually come in here and do it based on each child too, but yes. So make sure you're registering each child, but if you have a child that's doing band and strings, make sure that you select both of those and put both of them in your cart as you're going along. So this is the part that has been confusing. So we want to make sure that we're clear on this. This is your payment plan. You have the option to just go ahead and do the full payment, which would be a payment today. So that is the only difference, that if you decide to pay totally upfront, it will ask you to pay everything today. But you can set up payment plans. What's nice is depending on which one that I want to do, if I want to start my payments in August, or if I want to do a payment plan to continue through May or June or semester, then this gives me all those options. We select Visa, or we accept Visa and MasterCard through this. So that's just automatically going to be selected. Hit continue. Now it'll come and it'll show me what my payment will be per month, depending on what plan I had selected. This will automatically pull from your account on August 15th, September 15th, all throughout the year. And you enter your card information and go ahead and submit your application. So you can always go back if you decide, oh, this isn't the one that I actually wanted. I really want to do a semester. What does that break down for me? And it'll show you what that breakdown would be. So same kind of thing, and it'll show you these. And again, those amounts, here's those payment plans, just so you know what's offered. And then here's that registration link as you're going through. Make sure and keep this. This is what you're going to need to register. And Jennifer, I'll hand it back over to you.
So the big thing is that, and Ashley kind of talked about this too, is that, but you're not paying, oh, I want to do band for the months of August, September, October, and then you're done. No, it's the entire thing. It's just how it's broken up and how you want to pay for it. That's what those payment plans are. And so if we, for example, if I'm not able to make it on one day, then I'm going to do my best to try and reschedule another day to make up that time. Or if there happens to be a snow day, then that's something that we probably won't make up unless, I mean, case by case, but that's kind of a unique thing too, that, okay, you're not going to, with the school year and a snow day, you're not going to be refunded whatever odd change it breaks down to for that one day. It'll still add up to that full school year. So as far as, so if you're a returning member, definitely try and register before June 30th, because that helps us out immediately and immensely. But if you're a new beginner and you happen to know what instrument you're going to be playing, then go for it too. Register, there's no need to wait. But if you're unsure about what instrument, then maybe hold off until August, because in August, I think the first week or two of school, Sweetwater, we partner with Sweetwater to rent instruments and get materials and all that. They will be coming with our teachers to your school. So all the fourth graders for band or all the third graders for strings get to try out instruments. Sometimes your kid might have better lips that might be able to play a baritone rather than a flute, just purely based on physical features. All right. That doesn't make it bad or good by any means, but that's the purpose of that. Or, hey, I really like the saxophone, or I was able to really make a good sound on the trumpet or violin. That's what that's for. And so if you're a beginner and you want to wait till August, that's totally fine too. As far as those materials that Ashley was talking about, if you are a beginner, you for sure need a book. And then I think the next time you'll need a book is when you're in 7th grade or going into 7th grade is when you'll get a blue book for band. So unless the only other time you might need to buy a book is if you happen to lose it. Otherwise, it's all the same thing year to year, trying to make it easy as possible. As far as the extra materials, things like reeds or valve oil, that's kind of a case by case too. Just let us know that, hey, I need to get this. And then say I need valve oil, and I'll give it to them in class. And then I'll write them kind of like an invoice, but letting you know that, hey, it's going to be added to your monthly payment or whatever, however payment plan you set up. But let us know if you need something, because we don't always see that automatically that you purchased that. So, Brandon, do you want to talk a little bit about your books and materials as well?
Yeah, so it's pretty similar to the band program. All beginners most definitely need a book, because that is what we use on a daily basis in our classes, and even the older classes as well. Once they get to 7th grade, they also move into another book by then, and we use that as supplement material as we're learning our pieces of music. And for the older students, intermediate and advanced, we furnish all of the music for them. That's not something that you have to, that you're having to go out and pay for. We provide that music for the intermediate and advanced students. But yeah, it's very similar to the way the band program works. And the same thing, if there's a book that's lost, or it gets, literally, I've had books eaten by dogs, from, family dogs and stuff. We'd be more than happy to get another book for you. And they're only $10 too, so they're not super expensive, or any other materials. Now for the orchestra instruments, all instruments should come with a block of rosin. That's just provided in a part of each of the instruments. But if you happen to lose it or it breaks, we can pick you up some new rosin, and it's only like $3 to $5.
Or the option too is to always just go to Sweetwater. I know kids out with suburban Bethlehem, that's literally next door, and it's great. But if you just want to take a trip to Sweetwater and spend an hour or so just browsing, we have great friendships and great partnership with the folks at Band and Orchestra through Sweetwater. So they know our program. They know, hey, I go to this school, this Lutheran elementary school. Can I have a new book for my beginner? And they'll know exactly what that is. So you can always go straight to them too. It's the same price either way, just a matter of convenience. But it's always fun to go to Sweetwater if you haven't been. It could be well worth the trip. So, and that's too where a lot of our instruments, if you need an instrument, that's where they all come from too, very reasonably priced. Everything I believe is rent to own. So any sort of payment that you put towards that instrument for renting it is, you could eventually own that by the time you're done paying it off. So it's amazing process and amazing teamwork there. So I think that's all. Are there any questions that have come up, Ashley?
No questions so far. If anybody has any questions, feel free to go ahead and put those in the Q&A or in the chats. I'm going to go ahead and put up the contact information here for Jennifer and Brandon here really quick. Just if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to them directly. I'm kind of here as a tech support on the back, so I may be interacting with you, just kind of helping with CamBrain, but please talk to Jennifer, talk to Brandon. They will be in there with your student, working with them on a daily basis, and know exactly what you're going to need.
If I could just put one more shameless plug of how music helps your student become well-rounded kids, is that like teaching eighth notes. You learn about fractions and okay, what's for a whole note divided by, if I were to split a whole note in half, it gets 4 counts and now it's 2 counts. So there's math, and I get super excited about that. I love math. But then there's also some history. When we play a piece by, I don't know, John Philip Sousa, they ask, oh, is that the guy who invented the sousaphone? So we talk a little bit about that. There's also languages. I mean, music itself is kind of a language. but a lot of our notations and information is in Italian. And so you learn things like piano is soft, or forte is loud, or pizzicato with strings. I think that's Italian. Okay, yeah. So there's so many cool things too. There's science, learning about acoustics and how things are made. And okay, if I have a little itty bitty flute, it's going to be higher because it's a shorter versus a trombone, which is 8-9 feet long, that it's going to be lower. So all of these things, while those subjects may be at a lower level, it still goes hand in hand, and it's something great to just try out for a year. It takes a while to master the instruments. If you've been to any beginning band or orchestra concerts, they're pretty honky or squeaky, but it's all part of the process. This is not something that you can master in a matter of months. Even like the really, really, really good kids, they might struggle at first. Some of my rock stars at high school, we were like, how are they ever going to get out of 4th grade band? But they keep with it, they stick with it. And the growth really happens. And who knows, it might turn into something that they're really passionate about. They might become a music teacher, they might become a music performer. And you don't have anything to lose by just trying it out. So I really encourage you to do it. I'm a strong believer in it. I think Brandon is too. I think it goes without saying, but we'd love to have you, and we'd love to be able to pack our stage at the high school when we all come together for concerts. So
I'd like to add just a little bit as well about just seeing the friendships that are made through music programs. Or I feel like, obviously we're going to be biased towards it because we've experienced it ourselves, but the friendships are just like none other. How strong the community is within the band and the orchestra program, and just seeing these students start out so young at their own schools, and then they come up to the high school, and then they are meeting all these, they become friends with these kids that they've kind of grown up with. And it's just making those memories that will really last a lifetime. So it's just it's an awesome experience to be a part of.
absolutely. And another thing to do over the summer is, Ashley mentioned our summer camps. That's a great place to continue building those friendships, whether it's through junior cadets with the band program or junior color guard, where we learn how to spin flags and toss flags and march in the parade, or if it is a science camp or volleyball camp or whatever it is. Those are great ways to get involved and to really build friendships, because that'll start some lifelong friendships, and it's really, really cool. I'm also hoping to get together or establish some dates that, hey, on this date, if you play a woodwind instrument, whether you are have at least 1 year of band experience to completely retired and it's been 17 years since you picked up an instrument, we're going to rehearse on these 2 dates, and then join us for church at this place. We're going to play on hymns or something. So stay tuned for that too. There's lots of ways to get involved, or even just ask your music director. Say, hey, can I play violin at this service in June? I'm sure they would love to have you play. Just give them a little heads up, so they can give you music and you can practice. But there's lots of great ways to get involved. This high school, these schools, this city is really, really rich in music and fine arts. So I encourage you to dive in as much as you can. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. We didn't have any questions, but if you have any questions after this time, please reach out to Jennifer or Brandon. They'll be able to answer anything that you have as far as registration. Just keep in mind that link, CLHS.campbrain registration, and I should look at this before I'm saying this. Yes, CLHS.campbrainregistration.com. That is what you need to be able to register for elementary band and our summer camps. So it's great, all in one place. Dive right in, and we hope to see you this summer and next year. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great night.